stat that blew me away. Alabama opens up the year as the number 1 ranked team in the country. Cole Kublik, who's been on the show, covers Auburn. Nick Saban's record as a head coach with the number 1 team in the country, they open up with Utah State. His record, this is well-ranked number 1, is 85-10. To put that into perspective, Woody Hayes and Bobby Bowden, Hayes of Ohio State, Bobby Bowden, of course, with that great run at Florida State, they have 45. And then the next closest active coach, Dabo Swinney, with 21. Now, Swinney's young and has many, many games ahead of him, of course, you would think. Hayes and Bowden are gone, retired and now no longer with us. 85-45, Craig Smoak. That's how dominant Alabama's been. And, of course, he's had that run now for over a decade.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to the argument that Nick Saban's been dominant. I mean, I think it just says it right there. We could probably start every show with some statistic of Nick Saban and Alabama and, how dominant they've been over the last, decade plus now at this point. It's great in some ways for the sport that there's this, this big bad that everybody's chasing after and that, on occasion, a Clemson's been able to jump up and punch, or Georgia now has as well. But, it's going to be fascinating to see just how long Nick Saban takes this train. And, then eventually the fallout from that whenever he does decide that he's seen enough football from the sidelines. And I don't know how close we are to that point or not. I know that that's something he has to fight off pretty much constantly now from rivals, is especially in recruiting oh, yeah, he's retiring soon. He's retiring soon. If you go there, he's not going to play all 4 years. That kind of thing is how he's mostly negative recruited these days because, what else are you really going to say? Well, you're going to go there and you're not going to play because everybody else is too good. Well, that might motivate some guys to really want to go there. And then I guess the lazier guys will be like, yeah, I don't want to fight for my spot. I'll come to your school. So, just the way that it's set up right now, it's another year where they're right there at the top. I think a lot of people believe they're the best team in the country walking in this year, and it's just been amazing to see what Alabama at the top looks like, because when I was growing up, quite frankly, I didn't understand why Forrest Gump, outside of just being in Alabama, why I was like, oh, there's Alabama footballs in Forrest Gump. I didn't know the history, or I knew the history, but I didn't feel the history like people in, earlier decades had. I was a 90s kid. So Alabama, won very early on when I was 6 in that decade. But then after that, that really wasn't a big deal, quite frankly. The SEC wasn't a massive deal at that time. The Big 8, the Big 12 eventually was, kind of the cool hip conference, so to speak. But, obviously ever since, mid-2000s now at this point, it's just been the Alabama show for the most part. And
since 2009 when they beat Texas in the national championship, and they have not looked back since that time. So that's that. Also, you hear, and we mentioned Gary